in Japan, they get into some crazy stuff, man. And there's a story that I wrote about in my book that it tells me and Darren and Kid Yamamoto getting run over by Yakuza guys. So I brought Darren over onto this podcast so he can give his insight, and we'll talk about that crazy incident that Yakuza ran us over. So check it out and enjoy. Right on.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Yamatodamashii podcast. My name is James, and today it's a very special episode. We are going back in time for Enson to discuss a particular story around a particular incident with some very interesting people known as the Yakuza. But today we also have a special guest joining us as well. We have one of Enson's longtime best friends in Darren, and who Darren had a very personal incident on this particular night out that we're going to be discussing. So we look forward to hearing some of your insights, Darren, into what actually happened there. But
all right,
maybe it's worth if I kick it over to you, Enson, first, just to sort of set the scene a bit. So this particular story is in your book, and it was about when Darren had come over. I believe, Darren, it was the first night you got to Japan when this night happened.
Yeah, that was actually the day I arrived.
Okay.
we're already on the town, hitting the town, looking for girls for Darren, you know.
So this was in Omiya, right? Though, so this is in like Omiya, Japan. This is Enson. This is your typical sort of stomping ground. Like you knew it pretty well,
you know,
right?
Darren comes to. He loves Japan, so every chance he gets, he flies to Japan to hang out with me. And you know, we back in that day, we were like hitting the clubs or going out, pretty much looking for girls. Yeah. So that was that whole thing. Is I think that night Darren just got in, and we're near Omiya Station, and in front of Omiya Station is a real big station. It's a major station, and in front of the station there's like all shops and clubs and drinking places, and you know they call them hostess bars. We went into one of the hostess bars and try our luck with it. And all this shit happened outside the bar. We actually already went to a hostess bar, and we came out, and you know they have all these guys outside trying to get you into the shops, and so they were trying to get us into the next shop. And as we were talking to them, you know, the altercation happened. It started off with Kid.
Mm-hmm.
Kid got I think we were standing kind of on the road, and he got kind of his butt got hit by one of the Yakuza guys' car mirrors.
Right. And then
they got into a little argument, and then I went there to try and take care of it. Like, okay, what's the problem? We don't want any trouble. You know, hey, let's go on. And I don't know, man. The guy just, to me, what I remember is the guy just insisted on having a problem with us, and it was almost unavoidable. What did you see, Darren? From where you were, how did you see it?
Yeah, well, we had just exited the barn. We're standing, and there's not really a sidewalk. So like Enson said, we're kind of on the street, but, you know, as close to the side as possible. And Kid was to the left of me, and Enson was to the right of me. And then the cars were coming on a one-way street from our left side. So I was looking to my left, watching the cars come, and I saw this one car although they were really going really slow, he kind of purposely turned into Kid so that his side view mirror hit Kid. And so Kid kind of just jumped back in like, whoa, what's happening? And then the guy just jumped out of his car and started yelling and screaming. At that time, I didn't really understand Japanese. So he was just pretty much in Kid's face, just yelling and screaming. And then I remember Kid looking at Enson and saying, hey, can I mess this guy up? And Enson said, oh, no, we don't want any problems. So Enson came over and tried to talk to the guy, and the guy just continued to just yell and basically telling us, get out of the way, get out of the way. And, Enson is like, we're not in your way, but he kept insisting. So, yeah, that kind of went on for like 5 minutes, and the guy was just like going off for no reason.
So
Yeah.
at what point did you guys realize?
Literally said, the guy said, kid looked at me and said, "Can I fuck this guy up?" I was like, "Oh shit!" I don't.
Which point did you realize that this, he was possibly Yakuza?
Oh well, he blatantly told us. So when
Right.
I went over there, I told him, hey, we don't want any problems. And then I said, so I told kid, get on the side. We don't want any problems. Let's just go home. And then he kind of looked at me and he remember he opened the top buttons of his shirt, and then he showed us his finger, that he was missing a finger, and he screamed in Japanese, "This is what you're fucking with, man." And for me, it didn't make a difference if you're a normal guy or you're a Yakuza. We don't want any trouble, regardless of who you are. More so with a Yakuza guy, but for some reason that type of like, he's trying to threaten or scare us. That almost makes me like become a little bit more resistant. Like, hey, dude, don't fucking do that, But I just told him that, go home. We'll go home. Just forget about this whole thing. No one's hurt. And like Darren said, he kept screaming at me, "Dokiro, Dokiro," is get the fuck out of the way. And I was like, I was sincerely thinking that, a way out of the problem. So I looked at it, I said, "I'm not in your way. I'm standing on the side of your car." And he screamed at me, "Get out of the way again." And I kind of got a little bit upset, and I said, "We're not in your fucking way. If you get in your car, you can drive off." And then he said it again, and that's when I just thought, this guy probably wants trouble. So I remember telling him, "Give me a fucking reason. You want problems? Give me a reason to give you a problem." And that's when he told me, "Oh, he said in hite korosu." He said, I'm gonna kill you by running you over. And that's when I kind of stepped back and I said, "Oh fuck." Told Darren, I took out my cell phone and my money, and I said, "Okay, if this guy's gonna try and kill me, I don't want to have anything that else might break or lose, So I gave everything to Darren and said, "Hold on to this." This guy said he's gonna. I told you that, yeah, Darren. He's gonna try and kill us, run us over.
No, actually, you didn't. You just said, "Hey, I don't know what this guy's gonna do." So anyway, just hold my stuff. So I kind of just stepped on the side, and that's when he started yelling at the cars in back of him, because by this time he's a long line of cars, and he just kept saying, "Get back, get back, get back." And then when he went into his car, then I was like, "Oh shit, I don't know what this guy's gonna do." So then we just kind of stepped back, but we were just kind of standing there.
Yeah, at that point I wasn't gonna run. I wasn't gonna apologize because we didn't do anything wrong. And I remember in my head I was thinking, all I need to do is wait for the guy to give me a reason to fuck him up. And I just felt that just him screaming wasn't enough. But if he actually tried to hurt us, then that'll give me a reason to fuck him up. And I remember thinking that, and I remember hearing his tires. He kind of burnt out a little bit. And the next thing I know, I remember seeing him almost like it was like a side swipe. Yeah, he hit kid.
Yeah.
What do you remember? Because I think you saw that better.
Yeah. Well, I remember him backing up and just thinking, "Nah, this guy's not gonna actually hit us." And then
that's exactly what I was thinking too.
Yeah, he just gunned it, and for a second I was like, "Wait, is this really happening?" And like you said, he sideswiped kid, and he came right for me. So I kind of remember the right front of his car, like it was like in slow motion. I was like, I can't believe it, and I said, "Holy shit, it's actually coming towards me!" And I remember the car hitting me, and I just flew back, and I landed on my back, and the tires just like went right past my head. And I was just like in shock. And I looked up, and because I had Enson's wallet and all these papers, they're all like money and papers just kind of flying in the air. And I tried to get up, and I couldn't because of my knees were hurt. So I kind of fell back down. And then the next thing I saw, Enson from my right side start, running up. And then kid got up, And then so the guy continued on down the street, and then they just ran down the street.
Did you see me get hit?
No.
Oh, you did it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened?
So
was
I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't see the Jackie Chan flip, but yeah, because I was on my ass by that time.
So that guy went and after he hit Darren, he swerved back into the road and came for me. So when I saw him hit Darren, that's when I had that same thought as Darren, like, holy shit, this guy's actually going to bang us. And I remember thinking for a moment that, oh, fuck, I got all the reason to fuck him up now. And before I knew it, the car was right in front of me. So I just instinctively just jumped in the air. I don't know why. I don't know why instinctively that would make me do that. But I jumped in the air. My knees hit the hood. And I rolled over the windshield. I'm not quite on the top of the car, but kind of halfway on, rolling right off to the side. And I remember landing on my feet. And the thing that I remember really dangerous was when he passed me, there was a parked car, a van. And was like I just was standing right between me and the van when he went whizzing by. So I think that's what you saw after that is when he went down the street. All I got in my head now is now if I grab this guy, I got a reason to fuck him up. And I'm running down the street and he's like speeding. This is like it's a street, but it's later at night. There's shoppers and people that's going out, so people walking.
Yeah, there was a lot of people there.
A lot of people, and he was just speeding through. He actually hit an old man, and we were tracing him down, and I guess he knew that if we caught him, he would be in trouble. And he went speeding off and was gone, man. And I remember the old man had was bleeding by the head. So I went and I figured out we go to do it the proper way, go to the authorities, get another guy to press the charge, So I asked the guy for his his business card, and I told him let's press charges against this guy. And apparently this guy knew this guy was a Yakuza, so he was like, I want nothing to do with it. And I'm like, come on. I said, what are you doing? What do you mean you're not okay? He goes, no, I'm okay. He got up and walked away. And I was like, oh, fuck. And I had to go check on Darren, yeah? And the kid was fine, too.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of super common, though, right, for people to go a bit hush-hush, bit quiet, like when it's the Yakuza-related incident, right? Like no one really wants to talk.
Well, it got even more frustrating the next day, though. Because I was so pissed off. We got more excitement at that night because what we figured I'd do is I try to get as much of the license plate as I can, the make of the car, the color of the car. And we figured, okay, let's do things properly. This is when I was still planning to do things properly. So me, Darren, and Kid went into the police station. And we tried to report it. And I don't know. I don't know what Darren remembers, but I almost remember, like, I felt like we did something wrong, like the way they were questioning us. Like, they didn't believe us.
It was ridiculous.
And they separated us in different rooms and started asking us all the same questions. And it got to a point where I felt like they didn't want to do anything. So I just fucking lost it and just told them I just told the police to fuck off. You guys aren't going to do shit. We're going to take care of ourselves. And it was a big thing because they were trying to stop me from leaving the police station.
Yeah. On that, they kept saying, like, well, what did you guys do to this guy? And we're like, nothing. And he said, and they were kind of like trying to justify his actions by saying, well, there are 3 of you guys and only 1 of him. And we're saying, yeah, but he was in a car who ran us over. So what does that matter? And then so when Enson, just got fed up, he said, oh, fuck it, let's just leave. And just so happened, they were changing shifts. And so a whole bunch of new officers were coming in. And I guess Enson thought they called these extra guys because of, us. And so I remember him saying, that's all the guys you guys got. If you guys want to stop me, you need way more guys than that. And that was pretty hilarious, man. And they're like, oh, no. And yeah, it was pretty funny, though.
Yeah, it would have been something else if you took on Yakuza and police in the same night.
That'd be historic.
Yeah, I think it's pretty historic anyway, to be fair. I don't know how many people can say they got, nearly run over on a night out intentionally. That does It's not the norm. But yeah, so tell me about it. So
that whole legal movement was like, forget that.
Yeah. So you went to the police station. You had no luck. What was going through your head next in terms of what to do?
So mine was I gotta find out who this guy is. The police aren't gonna do it. I'm gonna do it through the, find out who these guys are. So I called a bunch of my friends or my students to get as much guys as they can. And Darren was out of commission. Darren was in my house on the ground, icing his knees already. So he was out. So I had to go down, and I got together all my guys, and we went down to the shops. I mean, that area where that guy was the next night, and went around and asking. And because the guy was, they call it the Ketsumochi. He's the one that he's the backing for all those shops in that area. They're afraid to, squeal on him. Mm-hmm. So everywhere I went, it was so frustrating because I would ask him, what's his name? What is the family he's linked with? And they wouldn't tell me. I mean, it was to a real frustrating point where they wouldn't say, I don't want to tell you. They pretended like they didn't know. So that night kind of went where we started roughing up people that wouldn't tell us. And I remember this game center had this big arm wrestling machine. And I remember the game center guy was right in front of where it happened. So I went up to him and I asked him, give me the name of the guy that was involved with us. And he said, I don't know who he is. And he lied to me. So I was a little upset. So I was that arm wrestler guy, I kind of wanted to just make a noise like boom and then tell the guy, fucking tell me the name, And I went and I hit it and my hand went through it. I still have a scar now, the little scar. So my hand went through the machine, and then it's like dripping blood coming down the hand. And then I remember recalling that in this second floor building, there's a mahjong parlor where all the Yakuzas get together to play mahjong. So I had this bright idea that I'm going to go up there, flip over all the mahjong tables, threaten all the Yakuzas. I was at this point where I didn't give a fuck. So we started going to that place, and then there's 3 elder Yakuzas coming down the stairs. And I stopped them, and you could image this now. I'm all pissed off with a lot of guys. I got blood dripping down my hand. And I see these 3 Yakuza guys, and I look at them and I go, you guys Yakuza? And they kind of looked at me like, whoa, what the fuck? And I said, yeah. I said, last night, one of you guys tried to kill me. I said, I'm here now. Kill me now. And I was ready to just go wild with them. And then one of the high guys, the old little guy, came out and knew who I was. Mm-hmm. And he comes in and he goes, Enson, what happened? What happened? And that's when things started to get into a discussion. And turns out that Yakuza guy who banged us was from that guy's family. Ironically. So he was a Sumiyoshi, I think the second or third largest family in Japan now. And the Sumiyoshi family had a group called the Izumigumi. And he was part of the Izumigumi. Not like a kumicho, like a boss, but just one of those fucking pipsqueak guys in the bottom. I remember his name was Hoshi.
So you get a bit of an identity. It took quite a while though, right, for you to actually find out who it was though. If I remember reading the book, it was kind of
how did I find out who the guy was, Darren, eventually? That guy Nakajima found out for me, yeah?
Yeah. You told him the area and described them and stuff.
Okay, so that old guy, I gave him the description, and then he's the one who came on and said, yeah, that guy's from my family.
Right.
So my next thing was getting the guy back. Mm-hmm. So I asked that guy to take off the Yakuza tag, send him over my gym, give me 5 minutes with him. And he asked, what are you going to do? I said, I'm just going to have him work for me. And he goes, work for you. And I said, yeah, sparring partner. And they knew exactly what was going to happen, that I was going to want to beat them up. And they said, no, they can't do that. So, I told them that, well, what are we going to do then? And they wanted to meet. And so that guy, Nakajima, he's like one of the top guys. Nakajima tells me, I'll call you. Never calls me. And it got worse because when I call him back, he finally makes an appointment. Okay, Wednesday night I'll come by. So after sparring, I'm waiting at a Wednesday night at my gym. Doesn't show up. Not even a call. So it was really interesting because there was a big anniversary party of a big Yakuza guy who just passed away in the building that was connected to my gym. So it was really funny because I remember Egan, my brother, was there. One of the president of the health center, Ikeda, he was there. And it was such a crazy thing because they had curtains going to the building from the parking lot, so all the top Yakuza guys wouldn't be seen. But you have all these freaking Bentleys and Mercedes and all these crazy ass Rolls Royce driving up to the parking lot. So we're standing in the parking lot just watching the cars come up. And that little guy, Nakajima, didn't come up for his appointment, didn't call me back. He's with like 6 boys, walks towards me. And I'm looking at him like, oh, there's this motherfucker. That's what I'm thinking. I didn't say anything. He comes up to me and wants to shake my hand. Enson, Genki. Like, he's saying, how you doing, Enson? And I looked at him and I was baffled. I looked at him and I said, how am I doing? I said, fuck you. I said, don't talk to me. Don't stick your hand out to me. I said, as far as I'm concerned, you didn't meet. You don't want to solve this problem. We're fucking enemies. And the guy Ikeda, that's the president of the health center, his father is involved in the Yakuza, so he knew about this kind of stuff. So he's like, knows who Nakajima is. And he's like kicking my leg, trying to get me to just tone down. And I'm like, straight up like, doesn't matter who you are, man. You did wrong. You fucked up. You're a dick. And he had all his boys behind him. And I remember me telling him, fuck you. You're my friend. He goes, oh, come on, I'll call you. And I remember telling him, well, until you call, fuck you. I'm not shaking your hand. And amazingly, he let me talk to him like that in front of his boys. And he kind of laughed it off, that he thought it was funny, but I know it was a really awkward moment for him. And he left. Called me the next day. Wants to solve everything. So, me and Kid, we're not hurt, but Darren's got, what was wrong with your knees, Darren?
I tore my meniscus in my knee, so I had to get surgery.
Just one of them.
Yeah. And then the other one was just strained, but yeah, I had to get surgery on the right knee.
Yeah, so, these guys come in to apologize. So he brings this guy Hoshi in, and Darren, you would be surprised too. This guy was like a normal dude, coming in with all these gifts, like all these, they call it senbei, it's like a rice crackers and all these like omiyage gifts for me. And so we get in the room, we sit down, and then the Nakajima, the head Yakuza guy, whips out an envelope and wants to settle everything for $3,000. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, this is fucking ridiculous. Not only is it a little bit of money, I don't know if I want to settle this. So I'm trying to get him to leave the guy at the gym, and he won't do it. So I kind of thought that, it's good to have these guys feeling like they owe you something. And I figure me and Kid live here. We can get a lot of benefit from it. Like if we were to say, you know what, apologize with your heart and we'll forget it, they still will owe us something. So I figured that might be a good up to have. But I felt Darren had nothing to gain. Darren doesn't live here. If Darren played hard ass, they wouldn't be able to do anything to Darren. If he did be nice to him and say, okay, it's not going to benefit Darren anyway. He doesn't live here. So I I told them that as far as me and Kid, I mean, if they're only offering $3,000, it's not even worth taking. So I told him, we'll forgive you if he apologizes from his heart. But as far as Darren, I said, there's no way. So we negotiated for Darren. I mean, he got his surgeries all paid for. And they call it a showtime. Showtime is like an invitation to Japan. So his airfare was paid by them. I think. Yeah. What did you remember, Darren, on that?
Yeah, they paid for me to go back, and then for whatever my out of pocket for my surgeries were.
And then we kind of, fuck them, man. We gave them a receipt for a business class. I think it was. Yeah, Darren.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he flew economy, but we got business class price. So a little bit extra. I mean, you know what? But to be honest, man. If we were ready to get hardcore on this whole thing, man, it would be way more. But because Nakajima was one of the top guys in my town, I felt that we could benefit from having a relationship with him. I made that sacrifice, but made sure I could get as much as I can for Darren, which was he didn't get out of pocket, but I mean pain and suffering and shit. He didn't get paid for any of that, So we figured we make a little pain and suffering on our own and, make them pay for a business class ticket.
Yeah, you did a good job, to be fair, to negotiate that down. Like, I think, any average person would probably shit themselves and run away. But you held your ground, looked out for your boy. So yeah, man, that's crazy shit. Did you ever have any sort of further encounters with Hishino? Is it Hishino?
So I found out that he went into prison 3 months later.
Oh shit!
And apparently, I don't know if you noticed, Darren, but apparently he got out a couple of years ago, and he's reached out to one of my kohais, Nachi, and Nachi pretty much told him to fuck off and never call again. So I mean, shit, I would have loved to have a yard cleaner or something, but I guess Nachi just felt like it's probably not best not to be associated to this guy. So as far as I know right now, the old man Nakajima, he's dead, and that guy Hishino, don't know what happened to him, man.
Yeah.
It's a funny story how I found out how Nakajima died. Is I wasn't related to them that much after that. I mean, every time we go in that town, then we go to a game center or we walk through to the hostess bars, we'd have all those guys remember who we are. Even till today, if I walk through that area, you have the old timer guys come up and bow. It's kind of neat. So the interesting thing is that area, there's a road that goes through all the drinking places, and they call it Yakuza Dori. So it's this interpreted as a Yakuza street. I did not know this, but you're not supposed to, only Yakuza can drive through that road. It is a kind of shitty road to drive through because it's a narrow lane and there's people and girls all standing on the edge trying to get customers in their shops. But for me, I go to a Thai massage place right around the corner, and for me to have to drive around was totally going around the whole block instead of cutting right through. So I drive through there, and there was one time when I drove through there, when I had my Hummer, it wasn't a problem because they recognized me right away and everyone just moved out of the way. But then when I got a regular family van is when I think, I don't know who I was with. I might have been alone, but I was driving through there after a massage and they came up and they blocked the car. So they blocked the car and there was this big fat dude in front of me. And I remember thinking to myself, this motherfucking fat fucker, get out of my way. So when he's standing there, I was just about to yell out of the window, hey, fatty, get the fuck out of the way. When one of the younger guys on the side goes, oh, it's Enson. So they all came and come running up to the window. And one of the guys came and told me that their boss, Nakajima, just died. And that 2 days later, they're going to have the funeral. So trying to give me the information on where the funeral was. But one, I didn't like the guy, so I wouldn't go to his funeral. Two, that would be the last thing for me to do is go to a head Yakuza guy's funeral, and I'm gonna be marked by the police. So it was just like that's how I found out he died, though. But that was a crazy adventure. Darren seems to attract a lot of freaking problems. Oh, actually, solutions to problems. It's so many times when Darren's come up and shit has gone down, man.
Yeah. What What are you doing, Darren? Why are you
How do you do
attracted to
that,
them?
Darren, man?
No, it's not attract problems. It's like I told you before Enson got on. It's when you with Enson, you always just have to be on your guard to expect that some kind of shit's going down. Even from when we were kids. So this is kind of just a continuation. But yeah, I don't think it's me.
Expect the unexpected, then, basically.
Darren was actually there too. Also, I think the story is in part 2 of the book. Is when we in Osaka, there was a Yakuza guy that was running from me for like I think it was like a half a year or even a year, more than a year. I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was so funny, yeah, because I remember telling
Yeah.
Darren in a bar previous, like, oh man, can you imagine if we saw him drinking in the bar across the way when because that guy's from Osaka. And the very next bar we go in, we're leaving, he's coming in, and that's a whole nother fucking episode.
Yeah, I was gonna say save that one for
Let's stay on this one for now.
Yeah. So you guys go. How far do you go back? Just I know we're sort of like wrapping up anyway, but how far? Like, when do you guys meet?
Oh, like 4 or 5 years old.
Really? Damn.
Kindergarten.
Yeah. Fuck. That's awesome.
We're in the same class in elementary school, and before the first grade, there's I don't know if I think they have it in America at kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're classmates kindergarten time all the way through high school. Until high school, I kind of went to a school that was more sports orientated, and he went to one that he needed a lot of brains. So I became a fighter.
No.
He became a lawyer.
Must not be because they let me in, so you didn't need brains.
I actually tried out for his school. I don't think I got in. They didn't want me, those fuckers.
Well, I think we got some questions actually from some loyal viewers, so it's probably worth just going through some of them now. So it's kind of it's exactly on the theme that we were just talking about. So Joe, by the looks of it, is saying that you seem very protective of the people around you, of your friends and family. And whether that's something that you've always had or if it's something that you developed throughout your life.
I don't know, Darren. Did I always have that?
Yeah, I mean the how we met in kindergarten. I mean, I still remember it was a recess, and I kind of got into it with this other classmate and pushed them down and ran to the teacher, and I was like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. And I saw Enson running around, and I ran up to him. I said, hey, this is what happened, and I think I'm in trouble. And he's like, no, just come with me. And we just kind of hid out. We took off, went to a different part of campus. We were hiding out. And after a while, I think the coast is clear. So we went back, and I never got into trouble for that. So, yeah, he was always like,
kindergarten. Oh
hey, if you could help you out, he would always, get your back. Even like that as a little kid, 5 years old, so.
That's jokes. You're even the muscle back in nursery. But so there's another one here from Damon, who says, I know the Yakuza is considered a criminal organization, but are there traditions amongst them, and do they take a certain pride in what they do and how they do it?
Yeah, the Yakuza are, as you know, if anyone read up on Yakuza, they're actually formulated from the samurai. So samurai kind of became Yakuza, sort of. So they're basic. Of course, there's their duds and there's those assholes and punks, but the basic the basic theme is honor. So they have a code of honor, which I think is very, very prominent in the higher up guys. But as a general, like even today, the kids nowadays are getting more, more cocky, more pussyish, just weaker kids. So even with the Yakuza thing, man, the honor is just slowly dropping out, So whenever I got into trouble with Yakuza, like I think there's 3 serious instances where I've actually hurt some of them. Because I took the route of honor, and I never did, do dirty shit or backstab anybody. Whenever I went to the top, I was always forgiven. Because what I did was I took the proper routes. So yeah, I mean, I think to answer that question, the Yakuza do have a code of honor that I think they do. A lot of them do take pride in, but there are like everything else, you have your bad eggs in any type of profession.
And so we've got another one here from Don, who says, I've heard you say many times that you've gone into situations fully prepared to die. Could you describe your mind state in that situation? Is it almost a calming feeling?
Yeah, well, if it's for the right reasons, I think I've generated this personality or idea or character that I feel like if I see something happening that's wrong, for me to not do anything about it, I think the guilt for me would be a lot harder to deal with than facing death itself. Especially when you're dealing with family and friends. Like if I were to be in a situation where Darren got circled by 3 Yakuza guys and they were going to stab him, for me to physically save my body and know that I probably could have helped and watch it happen, and the guilt I would feel having to have done nothing, I think it's a lot easier to stand in the fire with him. And if we can't overcome the problem, I mean, we both get killed together. I think it's easier to die than to live with the guilt of not doing what you should have done and what was proper. I think that's what's the hugest thing for me. Mm-hmm. The guilt. Even something as simple as if there was a little girl in a second-story room in fire, and no one wants to run in because it's a little dangerous. I mean, I'm not a fucking idiot where there's no possibility I'm going to run in like a freaking, like a dummy and die in the fire. I mean, if I do intellectually think there's a way to do it, and I don't, that's where the guilt will come in. If I don't see any chance, there's no guilt. I couldn't do anything. But if I feel like there is something, but fear is the only thing in the way of preventing me from trying to make a difference, I think that guilt of not running into the building and then that girl eventually dying, and just thinking in the back of my head that could I have saved her? Could I have saved her? I think that guilt would be way more painful than, dying in itself. I mean, I've never died before, so I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, thankfully you haven't died. Thankfully you're still here. Thankfully Darren's still here after basically getting run over. But no, that was the last question that we had, and I want to thank you both, and I want to thank you, Darren, for coming in and sharing your experiences. Because
no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's cool. It must be so. It's kind of bittersweet, right? Like it's an amazing story to tell, like, but at the same time, there's injuries, right, and it hurts.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those, in the long line of adventures with Enson, and it's, fortunately always, injuries, but it's always, like you said, we're still here. So.
Yeah. Well, for everyone that enjoyed that story, if you haven't already read it, check it out. It's available on Amazon in all different sort of countries, wherever you guys are. But Enson, any parting words while we wrap this up?
Yeah, Darren's in a lot of the stories in the books, as you can probably understand by now. And in book 2, there's a couple stories, so we'll probably bring it back. Bring him back again. Talk about another story, and it's what I want to point out in my book too. It's all straight up, real shit. There's no exaggerations. There's no play downs. Real names. Everybody, real family names, everything, and there's nothing changed. So it's a raw, real book. So far, I haven't gotten any problems from that. But yeah, so anybody watching this, you have any, if you read my book, there's other stories you want me to elaborate on, just put some message in the comments, let us know. And yeah, we want to thank Darren. Darren, it was, to let you guys know, it was hard collaborating this whole thing because I'm in San Diego right now. Darren's in Hawaii, and James is in the UK. So, what time is it there in James now?
It's 1:45 a.m.
Oh
Wow.
shit! So it's a little worse than 5:45 p.m., huh?
It's a little,
Yeah.
but we mix it up. We work it out.
Right on, man. But yeah, so hope you guys all enjoyed this, man, and give us some ideas in the comments if you have any suggestions on how we could make it better or what else we could have answered.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks, guys.